Your motorcycle's engine is a precision-built machine, tested to handle stress, deliver power, and give you years of reliable riding. But here's the truth many riders don't realize. The biggest threat to your engine isn't the miles you put on it. It's the small habits you repeat every day, the kind of habits that slowly wear it down from the inside. And when the damage finally shows, replacing an engine will cost you a fortune. So in this video, we're breaking down 9 riding habits that quietly destroy your engine, the hidden damage they cause, and the simple fixes that can save you thousands in repairs. Habit number 1, taking too many short trips. Let's start with one of the most common mistakes: short rides. Quick 2-minute runs to the store or a spin around the block might feel harmless, but they're tough on your engine. Here's why. Engines are designed to run at full operating temperature, where the oil reaches the right thickness to lubricate and clean properly. On short trips, the oil never gets hot enough to burn off condensation, leftover fuel, and acids. All of that junk builds up inside your engine, creating sludge and corrosion. Over time, this clogs oil passages, weakens internal parts, and speeds up wear. The fix is simple. If most of your rides are short, make sure you take your bike out on a longer ride every now and then, 20 to 30 minutes at full operating temperature, to let the engine clean itself out. Habit number 2, revving a cold. Engine next up, revving the engine when it's cold. A lot of riders love starting their bike, twisting the throttle, and hearing that roar first thing in the morning. But inside your engine, that habit is doing damage. When your bike sits overnight, the oil drains down to the bottom of the engine and thickens as it cools. That means when you first start it, critical parts like piston rings, bearings, and cylinder walls don't have proper lubrication. If you immediately rev the throttle, those metal parts grind against each other with almost no protection. Think of it as rubbing sandpaper on metal. It leaves scratches, accelerates wear, and can even shorten the life of your engine. In fact, mechanics will tell you that the worst engine wear happens in the first 60 seconds after a cold start. Scratched cylinders, worn bearings, and early engine failures often trace back to riders who couldn't resist revving cold. The right move: let the engine idle gently for about 60 seconds. That's all it takes for the oil to circulate. No need for a long 15-minute warm-up. Just give it a minute before riding off smoothly. Just let the oil circulate, then ride calmly for the first few minutes. Your engine will thank you. Habit number 3, lugging the engine. Next up, lugging the engine. And chances are you've done this without even realizing it. Lugging happens when you ride at low speeds in a high gear, forcing the engine to struggle at too few RPMs. When you open the throttle under those conditions, the engine strains hard against itself. The crankshaft, connecting rods and piston bearings take on extra stress, while low-frequency vibrations rattle through the bike. Over time, those vibrations loosen fasteners and accelerate wear in places you can't even see. Here's the rule of thumb. If your engine feels like it's grumbling and vibrating instead of pulling smoothly, you're lugging it. The fix is simple. Downshift to a lower gear and keep the RPMs inside the bike's power band. Your ride will feel smoother and your engine will stay healthier for years. Habit number 4, ignoring the red line. Every motorcycle tachometer has that red section for a reason. It's not a challenge, it's a warning. Briefly brushing against the red line now, and then won't destroy a well-maintained engine. The danger comes when you constantly push your bike to its limit, especially before it's fully warmed up. Here's why. At extreme RPMs, parts like valves, springs, and timing chains are moving at insane speeds. Push too hard, too often, and you risk valve float, where valves stay open too long or fail to close properly. In the worst case, a valve slams into a piston, and that's an instant engine killer. Even without catastrophic failure, constant redlining wears down crank bearings, rod bearings, valve guides, and cylinder walls much faster than normal. One rider found out the hard way. After a few months of redlining on every ride, including cold starts, his bike lost power and started clattering. A teardown revealed worn piston rings and stretched timing components. Bottom line, it's fine to let the engine breathe occasionally, but don't live at the red line. Smooth, controlled riding keeps your engine strong. Habit number 5. Aggressive downshifting. Without rev-matching engine braking feels great, no doubt about it. But slamming down a gear without matching your revs puts huge strain on your drivetrain and engine. That sharp bark when you slam down a gear into a corner. Addicting. But here's the catch. Doing it carelessly can be brutal on your engine. When you downshift without matching engine speed to wheel speed, the sudden RPM jump acts like a mini over-rev. That shockwave runs through your drivetrain, stressing your valves, lifters, clutch, and timing chain. Repeat it often enough, and you'll see stretched timing chains, floating valves, and uneven clutch wear. The fix is simple. Practice rev matching. Before you let out the clutch, give the throttle a smooth blip to bring the engine RPM up to match the lower gear. This makes the transition seamless, reduces drivetrain shock, and keeps both your engine and transmission happy. Habit number 6. Riding the clutch in traffic. If you ride in stop-and-go traffic a lot, you've probably done this, holding your clutch halfway in, halfway out to creep along. It feels like an easy way to manage slow speeds, but it's secretly cooking your clutch. Here's why. When the clutch isn't fully engaged or disengaged, the plates grind against each other, creating excess friction and heat. Over time, the plates glaze, lose grip, and start slipping. And if you've got a wet clutch, where the clutch and engine share the same oil, those worn clutch particles contaminate the oil, reducing its ability to protect the rest of your engine. Warning signs: a burnt plastic smell slipping at higher speeds, or trouble finding neutral. The smarter move: fully engage or disengage your clutch whenever possible. Use light throttle and brake control to handle low speeds instead of feathering the clutch endlessly. Your clutch and your engine oil will last far longer. Habit number 7. Hard launches and popping the clutch. We've all seen those viral clips. Someone revs their bike sky high, dumps the clutch and rockets forward, or straight into a curb. It might look thrilling, but launching like this is one of the fastest ways to destroy your clutch and engine. When you pop the clutch at high RPMs, all that stored energy slams through the clutch, transmission, chain, and wheel in a single violent surge. The clutch plates smack together, generating intense heat and friction. Do it often, and you'll warp, glaze, or even crack those plates. But it doesn't stop there. That torque spike can stretch your chain, chip sprocket teeth, and in severe cases, even stress or twist your crankshaft and bearings. A few seconds of fun could cost you thousands in repairs. Habit number 8. Sitting in gear at red lights. It might feel harmless to sit at a stoplight in first gear with the clutch pulled in. But if you do it all the time, you're slowly wearing out key clutch components. Here's what happens. When you hold the lever in, the clutch plates are separated and the pressure is carried by the throwout bearing and clutch springs. Those parts aren't designed for long periods of constant load. Over time, the bearing wears out, the springs weaken, and your clutch life shortens. There's also a safety risk. If your grip slips or someone taps you from behind, your bike could jerk forward unexpectedly. The smarter move, if you'll be stopped more than a few seconds, pop it into neutral. It relieves stress on the clutch, extends its lifespan, and even gives your hand a rest. Habit number 9. Letting your bike idle. Too long modern bikes, especially liquid-cooled ones, handle heat better than older models. But that doesn't mean they like idling for long stretches. If you let your bike sit idling for 10-15 minutes, or creep through slow-moving traffic on a blazing hot day, heat builds up fast. With little airflow over the radiator or engine fins, temperatures spike. Oil thins out, losing its protective qualities. On carbureted bikes, fuel in the float bowl can even vaporize, causing stalling or rough running. A constantly running cooling fan is a clear sign your bike is struggling to keep cool. The fix: keep warm-up short, about a minute or two, then ride gently. Moving air keeps your engine temperature stable far better than sitting still. And if you're stuck in traffic and the gauge climbs into the danger zone, pull over safely and let the bike cool down before damage sets in. Habit number 10. Ignoring overheating and warning signs. This one's the most dangerous of all. Ignoring your bike when it's trying to tell you something's wrong. Engines rarely fail without warning, but too many riders brush off the early signs until it's too late. Overheating, unusual noises, loss of power, or warning lights on the dash aren't just quirks, they're red flags. Keep pushing and you risk warped cylinder heads, blown gaskets, and complete engine failure. The takeaway: never ignore what your bike is telling you. If the temperature climbs, if you hear knocks or rattles, or if performance drops suddenly, take it seriously. Stop riding, investigate, and fix the issue before it turns into a costly repair. If your temperature gauge is climbing higher than normal, you smell hot oil or coolant, hear strange knocking sounds, or feel intense heat pouring off the bike onto your legs, those are all warning signs your engine is in trouble. Keep riding like nothing's happening, and you could be looking at expensive, sometimes permanent damage. When an engine overheats, metal parts expand. If the piston swells too much inside the cylinder, it can seize, scuff the walls, and warp the head. Gaskets start leaking, oil breaks down, and valves can stick or fail. In extreme cases, you could even crack the engine block. Modern bikes try to protect themselves. Some will cut power automatically, others might boil over coolant just to get your attention. But the smartest move is staying ahead of the problem. Here's what to watch for: rising temperature gauge or warning lights, pinging or knocking noises under load, the smell of hot coolant or burning oil, steam coming from the engine area. If any of these show up, pull over immediately. Turn off the bike. Let it cool down naturally. Then check your coolant and oil levels before restarting. Fixing a minor cooling issue is way cheaper than rebuilding an entire top end. Final takeaway: at the end of the day, motorcycles are built to be ridden and enjoyed. But like any finely engineered machine, they only last if you treat them right. The little habits you repeat every ride either protect your engine or slowly destroy it. Avoid revving a cold engine. Don't lug it in the wrong gear. Rev match your downshifts. Warm up with a ride, not an idle session. Use your clutch with purpose. And always pay attention to what your bike is trying to tell you. It's these small adjustments that can mean the difference between an engine that barely makes it to 10,000 miles and one that runs strong for 100,000. If this video helped you, hit that like button and subscribe for more smart motorcycle tips that protect both your ride and your wallet. And let us know in the comments, what's the bad habit you're guilty of? I'll admit mine was revving cold engines when I first started out. Thanks for watching, ride safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.